Apprentice to the Masters, Part 2, by Peter Mount Shasta. Chapter 3, Section 1, Meeting Pearl and Making a Vow. As I pulled off the freeway and entered the small town of Mount Shasta, I realized a circle was completing. Saint Germain had told me on the mountain the summer before to return to India. There, Sai Baba had told me to meditate on I am God, the divinity within my own heart, and the guidance that came from following that presence had brought me back to Saint Germain and the mountain. After driving all morning, I was hungry and wanted to find a place for breakfast. As I cruised down the main street, I recalled how Mount Shasta was known for its mystical lore of the Masters, Lemurians, and UFOs. But that morning, the tiny town at the foot of the mountain seemed quite ordinary. It was like so many other logging towns in the northwest at the time, isolated and desperate for business, with neon open signs in every shop window. Yet, despite those illumined invitations, I was about to learn that the local inhabitants were not as open as the signs advertised. I parked my van and walked down the street, aware of the eyes of the passers-by probing me, as though I had just gotten off a spaceship. My long hair hanging over my shoulders, a mala of prayer beads around my neck, and the loose white clothes from India must have put me in the hippie category in the eyes of the local ranchers and mill workers. Midway down the bleak main street, I caught sight of a lurid sign flashing on and off, Breakfast House, and I walked towards it with a grumbling stomach. In the door I was accosted by a red-lettered plastic sign, "We do not solicit hippie patronage." Well, I had never liked the term hippie, for many who use that term seem to feel that by growing their hair and wearing baggy clothes, they were making a leap in consciousness. As a teenager, I'd worn a black turtleneck sweater and hung out in Greenwich Village and read Kerouac's Dharma Burns, meditating on Zen koans such as "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" But I was 14 then, and now I try to dissociate myself from both the beatnik and hippie labels and avoid being put in a category of any sort. Hippie seemed a diminutive of the beatnik hip, but I didn't find out until later that the word comes from an African dialect meaning one who is aware. I could have lived with that if I'd known the true meaning, but I had rejected the label and now felt that the sign in the door forbidding hippies didn't apply to me. I pushed open the door of the restaurant and stepped inside. The packed room became silent. Like the scene from the film Easy Rider, where two freedom-loving bikers enter a restaurant and are confronted by southern rednecks. Standing in the doorway, I was frozen to the floor by a room of icy stairs. To buy this and other books by Peter Mount Shasta, please go to iamteachings.com. Thank you for listening.